Greetings, friends. This is a very special Sunday because actually two things converge in it, right?
Yeah.
The presentation of Jesus at the temple, right? And then there's something we call Candlemas, right? So let's talk this a little bit about the presentation. What really strikes me, and you can help me out with this, is that Luke, actually, Luke's interesting because as a gospel, it begins in the temple and it ends in the temple.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's why I think the church fathers use the sacrificial animal of an ox
for
Luke, right? Yeah, because it's very associated with temple sacrifice. Okay, so anyways, Luke is very, very he's very keen on showing that Jesus and his parents fulfilled all the obligations of the Old Testament.
Right.
Which tells us, and this is something we can never say this too much, Jesus didn't abrogate the law, or Jesus didn't say that the Old Testament law is all
done away with.
But he fulfills the law, and he's the embodiment of the law because he fulfilled it perfectly. And so that binds the old covenant and new covenant together. You can't stress that more than enough, right? Yeah,
that's right.
So the presentation is very important.
It is, which you mentioned it was about two things, but really I thought of a third while I'm listening to you. Because the presentation of the Lord goes along with the purification of Mary.
That's right.
And that used to be a feast in the church, and so we see this together. The Redeemer comes to be redeemed, cradled in the arms of his mother, and so we have here a prefigurement of the church that still holds Christ up as the light of the world. It still invites others to come into the temple to come, and that's where the candles come in. That we have in the church year. Here's a preview to my brief homily on Candlemas. That 4 days in the liturgical year, where we colloquially call it something Mass. Right? We have Christmas and Martinmas after St. Martin, and Michaelmas after St. Michael, and then Candlemas after the candles at the Mass. And so I won't have to go into each of these days right now, except for Candlemas, that this is the one feast day in the church year that we colloquially know by reference to an object and not a person, which is interesting. So if you come to Mass, I know that you all will, you come to Mass,
Bring your candles.
Bring your candles to be blessed. We'll bless candles at the church, but then we also have the intention to bless all of your candles that you bring, that you will light. I will say again on Sunday that decorative candles serve no real purpose. All candles are meant to be lit, right? And so we'll talk about what the candles represent. Are we just doing something out of ritual? Do they represent Christ? Do they represent us? What are these candles about, and why the importance? This is a feast that has been celebrated with candles for centuries now in the Roman Church. And so it's more than just a nice little thing to go to. I don't want to give away everything in the homily, everything in the liturgy, but it's worth coming to see. It rarely falls on a Sunday, only about once a decade. And so it's worth coming to see this. We always celebrate it every February 2nd. And then we use some of these blessed candles on the day after for St. Blaise. I do want to get a plug in for this, that the blessing of throats.
That's right, like this, right?
Yes, like that. I told the deacon, and we'll do that after Mass on Monday.
Right.
But I told the deacon.
This year, I think we need it more than other years. It seems like everybody's got some sort of.
I think so. And I think we need to light those candles, set them ablaze. So I suggested that perhaps I'll have the lit candles, and deacon can have the unlit candles, and we'll see how fast the lines
Just
go.
Make sure you don't light anybody's hair.
Yeah, that's right. We don't want anyone to burn.
Especially the hairspray they got nowadays.
Yeah, very flammable.
Okay.
So.
But, candles, just another thing on candles, how important they are in liturgical life. We won't say a Mass without candles.
Yeah, right.
It reminds us of the light of Christ, and there's usually four, we have four, one for each gospel or evangelist.
It varies. It can be 3 and 3.
It can be, okay, yeah, right. And you'll notice that one of the latest additions of the church, the candelabras in the back.
Very nice.
They do something that's very conducive to prayer. Okay, so if you've been down in my study, I keep the light low because there's two things. Okay, there's a lot of dust down there.
Oh yeah, right.
It's hard to dust thousands of books, right? But another thing is there's candle drippings everywhere because there's something about the mysterious about our faith. It's fundamentally a deep mystery, and light and is such an important aspect that when we were baptized, God lit our candle, right?
Yeah.
You got to keep our candles lit. We're given a baptism light.
Well, we said, yeah.
And so I don't want to break too much into it.
No, that's right. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that too, both at the sacrament of baptism and at the Easter Vigil, where again we see that sacrament administered, but with different words and different prayers. We talk about the importance of the beeswax in the candles during the Exalted at the Easter Vigil, so something to begin preparing for now, come on April 19th. I don't know what time yet, but we'll tell you more about that later. But the point is that these candles feature throughout the year, at every Mass, but at these 2 points, at the end of sort of the cultural Christmas season, which we celebrate on Candlemas, and then at the beginning of Easter, at that Easter Vigil, we have 2 times that are fairly close in proximity, just 2 or 3 months apart, where we put a tremendous emphasis on candles and what they represent, and maybe we're supposed to tell you what they represent now, but I won't tell you. I'll tell you on Sunday.
Anyways, bring your candles.
Yeah.
And then use them, light them in your little secret prayer chamber. I always tell people to have a little bit of sacred space, and sacred time, 2 ingredients for a good prayer life, right? And the candles really do help.
They become sacramentals. Once they're blessed, they like your rosary, like your crucifix, like your icons. They're like your holy water. They're sacramentals.
Sacramentals are meant to help us lift our spirits to heaven. So, okay, we probably going to talk more about things, but it was good to have this chat with you.
We'll do it again next week.
And God bless you. Bye.
Take care.